The small golden dog pressed her shaking body against the cold brick wall. Her fur, once beautiful and soft, was now dirty and falling out in patches. She had been living on these hard streets for so many months that she could barely remember what it felt like to have a warm place to sleep. Her name was Bella, though nobody had called her that in a very long time. The last person who spoke her name was her old owner, who had loaded boxes into a moving truck one morning and driven away forever. Bella had waited by the door for 3 whole days, believing they would come back for her, but they never did. Check key. First few weeks were the hardest. Bella didn't know how to find food or water. She didn't understand why people would shout at her when she tried to get close. All she wanted was someone to pet her head and tell her she was a good girl, just like before. Instead, she learned to run when she saw humans coming her way. Winter was getting closer, and the nights were becoming so cold that Bella's whole body would shake until morning came. She had found this little spot under some metal stairs where the wind couldn't reach her as much. It wasn't comfortable, but it was better than sleeping in the open where bigger dogs might try to take her spot. Food was always hard to find. Sometimes, she could find scraps near the restaurants, but the workers would chase her away with brooms and angry words. She learned to wait until very late at night when everyone went home. Even then, most days she found nothing at all. Her ribs were starting to show through her thin coat, and every step felt harder than the one before. The worst part wasn't the hunger or the cold. It was the loneliness. Bella remembered what it felt like to curl up next to someone warm, to have gentle hands scratch behind her ears to play with toys in a safe yard. Now she spent her days hiding, and her nights trying to stay warm enough to make it until sunrise. People walked past her hiding spot every day, but nobody stopped to look. Some would glance over and then quickly look away, as if they didn't want to see her pain. Others would point and whisper to their friends, but none of them came closer. Bella had learned that humans were not safe anymore. She tried to remember the good times when she was little. There had been a soft bed, bowls full of food that appeared twice every day, and toys scattered around a living room. There had been laughter and games of fetch in a backyard with green grass. Those memories felt like dreams now, too good to be real. The rain started falling harder, and Bella pushed herself deeper into her small shelter. The water dripped through the metal stairs above her, making small puddles around her paws. She was already wet from yesterday's rain, and her fur never seemed to dry completely anymore. The dampness made everything worse. The cold, the smell, the way her skin itched where her fur was falling out. A garbage truck rumbled down the alley, its bright lights sweeping across the walls. Bella squeezed her eyes shut and tried to make herself even smaller. Loud noises scared her now. Everything scared her. She had learned that staying invisible was the only way to stay safe. Her stomach cramped with hunger. It had been 3 days since she found those old French fries behind the burger place. 3 days of nothing but dirty puddle water and the constant ache in her belly. She was getting weaker, and she knew it. Some mornings she wondered if it would be easier to just close her eyes and not wake up. But something deep inside her kept fighting. Maybe it was the memory of better days, or maybe it was just the way dogs are made, to hope even when there's no reason to hope. Either way, she kept breathing, kept searching for food, kept looking for a dry place to sleep. The city never slept, but it never cared either. Cars drove by with warm people inside, going to warm homes with soft beds and full refrigerators. Bella watched their red tail lights disappear around corners, taking their warmth and safety with them. She wondered if she would ever feel warm again. A cat appeared at the other end of the alley, probably looking for the same scraps that Bella couldn't find. Even the cat looked healthier than she did. It had somewhere to go when the weather got bad. It had people who would let it inside. Bella had nothing and nobody. The rain kept falling, turning the dirt around her into cold mud. Her paws were cracked and sore from walking on concrete and broken glass. Every part of her body hurt, but the hurt in her heart was worse. She missed being loved. She missed having a purpose, a reason to wake up happy each morning. As the night grew darker and colder, Bella closed her eyes and tried to dream of better times. Tomorrow would bring another day of searching for food, another day of hiding from people who might hurt her, another day of wondering if anyone in this big city would ever see her as more than just a problem to be solved. She didn't know that. Tomorrow would be different. She didn't know that one person was about to change everything. All she knew was that she was tired, hungry, and more alone than any living thing should ever have to be. Maya had been working late again at the community center, organizing supplies for families who needed help during the cold winter months. As a social worker, she knew how hard life could be for people who had nowhere warm to go. She spent her days helping others, but tonight she just wanted to get home to her small apartment and rest. The parking lot was almost empty now, and Maya pulled her coat tighter as she walked toward her old blue car. She always parked in the back because the spots were free, even though it meant walking through the narrow alley behind the building. The street light at the end flickered on and off, casting strange shadows on the brick walls. Maya was thinking about tomorrow's meetings when she heard it, a soft sound that made her stop walking immediately. It was so quiet that at first she thought maybe it was just the wind. But then she heard it again, a gentle whimpering that seemed to come from somewhere near the old fire escape. She stood still for a moment, listening carefully. There it was again. Something was crying, and it sounded scared and lonely. Maya felt her heart start beating faster. She was a little nervous about checking dark corners by herself, but she couldn't just walk away from something that sounded so sad. Following the sound, Maya pulled out her phone and turned on the flashlight. The small beam of light swept across empty boxes and old newspapers until it found what she was looking for. There, pressed against the cold brick wall, was the saddest sight she had ever seen. A small dog was shaking so hard that her whole body seemed to vibrate. Her fur was dirty and matted, with bare patches where it had fallen out. Maya could see the dog's ribs through her thin coat, and her eyes looked empty, like she had given up on everything good in the world. Maya's heart broke immediately. She had always loved animals, even as a little girl. She had volunteered at animal shelters and helped friends find homes for stray cats, but she had never seen an animal that looked this hopeless, this forgotten by the world. The dog looked up at Maya with fear in her eyes, as if she expected to be yelled at or chased away. Instead of running, though, she just pressed herself harder, against the wall, too tired and weak to escape even if she wanted to. Maya knelt down slowly in the dirty alley, not caring that her work clothes would get muddy. She made herself as small as possible, trying not to scare the little dog even more. She had learned from working with frightened children that sometimes the best thing to do is just be quiet and patient. "Hey there, sweet girl," Maya whispered, softly, her voice barely louder than the sound of the rain starting to fall. "I can see you're scared. I can see you've been hurt. But I'm not going to hurt you, okay?" The dog's ears twitched slightly, as if she wanted to believe those gentle words but didn't know how anymore. Maya could see that this little creature had learned not to trust people, probably because people had let her down before. Maya extended her hand very slowly, palm up, letting the dog see that she wasn't holding anything dangerous. She didn't try to touch her right away. Instead, she just kept talking in that same soft, gentle voice. "I know what it's like to feel alone," Maya said, thinking about her own difficult childhood. "I know what it's like when nobody seems to care. But you don't have to be alone anymore if you don't want to be." For 20 long minutes, Maya stayed crouched in that cold alley, talking quietly to the frightened dog. Her knees started to hurt, from staying in one position, and the rain was making her clothes damp. But she didn't move. She just kept speaking in gentle tones, telling the dog about her day, about the warm apartment waiting for her, about anything that might help this scared little soul feel less afraid. Slowly, very slowly, the dog's shaking began to calm down, just a tiny bit. Her eyes, which had been looking everywhere except at Maya, finally focused on her face. For the first time, Maya saw a spark of something that might have been hope. "That's it," Maya whispered. "You can look at me. I'm not scary, am I? I'm just a person who thinks you deserve better than this cold alley." The dog's nose twitched as she caught Maya's scent. Maybe she smelled kindness, or maybe she was just so tired of being afraid that she was willing to take one small chance on trusting again. When Maya finally moved her hand closer, the dog flinched but didn't run away. Maya let her fingers hover in the air near the dog's head, waiting for permission. After what felt like forever, the dog leaned forward just enough to let Maya's fingertips touch the dirty fur on top of her head. It was the gentlest touch Maya had ever given, and the dog's eyes closed for just a moment, as if she was remembering what it felt like to be petted with love instead of fear. "There you go," Maya said, feeling tears start to form in her eyes. "See? That wasn't so scary. You're such a good girl. You're such a brave, beautiful girl, even if you don't feel very beautiful right now." The dog seemed to understand that something important was happening. Her tail, which had been tucked tightly under her body, moved just slightly. Not quite a wag, but not frozen with fear anymore either. Maya made a decision that would change both of their lives forever. Looking into those tired brown eyes, she made a promise that came straight from her heart. "Listen to me, sweet girl," she said, her voice strong and sure. "You don't have to live like this anymore. I don't know your story, and I don't know how you ended up here, but I know this much. You deserve love. You deserve warmth and food, and someone who will never, ever leave you behind." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in for both of them. "Stay with me forever. I mean it. Come home with me tonight, and you'll never have to be cold or hungry or scared again. I promise you that. I promise you'll always have someone who cares about you." The dog looked at Maya for a long moment, as if she was trying to decide whether humans could be trusted with such important promises. Then, very slowly, she took one small step forward. It was the first step toward a completely different life. Getting Bella into Maya's car was like trying to convince a wild bird to trust human hands. Every movement had to be slow and careful. Maya wrapped her warm jacket around the shivering dog and lifted her as gently as possible. Bella was so light that it scared Maya. She couldn't have weighed more than 30 pounds when she should have been at least 50. The drive home was quiet, except for the soft sound of Bella's breathing. Maya kept talking in gentle tones, explaining where they were going and what would happen next. She didn't know if dogs could really understand all those words, but she hoped her calm voice would help Bella feel a little safer. Maya's apartment was small but cozy. She had decorated it with bright colors and soft blankets because she believed that everyone deserved a beautiful place to call home. But now, seeing it through Bella's frightened eyes, Maya realized how overwhelming it might seem after months of living outside. The first challenge came immediately. Bella wouldn't walk on the smooth floors. Her paws, used to concrete and dirt, couldn't grip the wood, and she kept slipping. Maya solved this by laying down towels to create a path from the door to a quiet corner, where she had quickly set up a soft bed. Bella spent the first 3 hours pressed into that corner, watching Maya's every movement with wide, alert eyes. She wouldn't eat the food Maya offered, wouldn't drink the water, wouldn't even lie down on the comfortable bed. She just sat there ready to run if anything scary happened. Maya understood. Trust doesn't happen overnight, especially when you've learned that people can disappear without warning. So she did something that surprised even herself. She sat on the floor across the room and started reading a book out loud. Her voice filled the quiet apartment with gentle words about far away places and brave characters. Hour by hour, day by day, tiny changes began to happen. On the second night, Bella finally drank some water, but only when Maya was in the kitchen and couldn't see her. On the third day, she ate a few bites of food, again when she thought nobody was watching. It was like living with a ghost who was slowly learning to be real again. Maya took time off work to stay home with Bella. She knew this was the most important job she had ever had. Every morning, she would sit near Bella's corner and eat her breakfast, talking about her plans for the day. She never tried to force Bella to come closer, but she always left the invitation open. The first big breakthrough came during a thunderstorm. The loud crashes of thunder sent Bella running to the only person she knew, pressing her shaking body against Maya's legs. Maya felt her heart swell as she gently stroked Bella's head, whispering that storms always pass, and everything would be okay. From that moment, something shifted. Bella started following Maya around the apartment, staying a few feet behind like a nervous shadow. She began to show interest in the toys Maya had bought: a soft rope, a squeaky ball, a puzzle that hid treats inside. She would sniff them curiously when Maya wasn't looking, then quickly move away when she noticed she was being watched. The trip to the veterinarian was harder than Maya had expected. Dr. Peterson, who had been treating animals for 30 years, took one look at Bella and shook his head sadly. The list of problems was long and serious. Bella had heartworm, infected cuts on her paws, severe malnutrition, and skin problems from being dirty for so long. "This is going to be expensive," Dr. Peterson warned Maya gently. "The treatment will take months, maybe longer, and there's no guarantee." Maya looked down at Bella, who was trembling on the examination table, and made the easiest decision of her life. "Do everything you can," she said. "Money doesn't matter, she matters." The treatment began immediately. Pills twice a day, special baths 3 times a week, prescription food that would help her gain weight safely. Maya learned to give injections, to clean wounds, to watch for signs that something might be wrong. It was like having a full-time job, but one that filled her heart instead of draining it. Slowly, miraculously, Bella began to change. Her coat started growing back, revealing beautiful golden fur underneath all the dirt and damage. Her ribs became less visible as she gained healthy weight. Her eyes began to sparkle with curiosity instead of fear, but the most amazing changes were in her personality. Maya discovered that Bella was incredibly smart. She learned her name again, remembered commands from her previous life, and started showing affection in small but meaningful ways. She would bring Maya her slippers in the morning, sit quietly beside her while she worked, and even started playing with her toys when she thought nobody was watching. The first time Bella wagged her tail, Maya cried happy tears. It happened when she came home from a quick trip to the store. Bella met her at the door, tail moving slowly but definitely wagging as if to say welcome home for the first time in her life. Training became a game they both enjoyed. Maya taught Bella to sit, stay, and come when called. But more importantly, she taught her that good things happen when humans are around. Treats appeared, games got played, and gentle hands provided the scratches behind the ears that Bella had missed so much. Maya also learned things about herself. She discovered that having someone depending on her made her days feel more meaningful. She found herself smiling more, laughing at Bella's silly habits and looking forward to coming home in a way she never had before. The transformation wasn't always smooth. There were setbacks when Bella would get scared and hide for hours. There were accidents on the carpet and shoes that got chewed up. There were expensive vet visits and sleepless nights when Bella was too anxious to rest. But through it all, Maya kept the promise she had made in that cold alley. She never lost patience, never raised her voice, never made Bella feel like she was too much trouble. Instead, she celebrated every small victory. The first time Bella slept through the night, the first time she played with a toy in front of Maya, the first time she came running when her name was called. 6 weeks after that rainy night, Maya was reading on the couch when something wonderful happened. Bella, who had been lying on her bed across the room, got up and walked over. Without any fear or hesitation, she placed her head on Maya's lap and looked up with eyes full of trust and love. Maya felt tears streaming down her face as she realized they had both learned something important. Bella had learned that she was safe and loved. Maya had learned that sometimes the most broken things, when given enough patience and care, become the most beautiful things in your life. They sat together, in the quiet apartment, both of them healing, both of them whole in a way they had never been before. 3 months after that life-changing night in the alley, Bella was becoming a completely different dog. Her golden coat had grown back thick and shiny, her eyes sparkled with curiosity, and she had gained enough healthy weight that Maya sometimes had to remind her not to steal food from the counter. But the most amazing change was in Bella's personality. Maya discovered that underneath all that fear and sadness had been hiding one of the most intelligent and loving dogs she had ever known. Bella seemed to understand everything Maya said to her, and she had developed her own ways of communicating back. Every morning, Bella would bring Maya her slippers, carrying them one at a time from the bedroom to wherever Maya was having her coffee. It became their special routine, and Maya would always thank her with scratches behind the ears and tell her what a good helper she was. Maya had started taking Bella to the park every day for walks, and it was amazing to watch her discover the world all over again. At first, Bella had been terrified of other dogs, remembering too many fights over scraps of food on the streets. But slowly, with Maya's patient encouragement, she began to understand that not all dogs were enemies. There was an old golden retriever named Charlie, who visited the park with his elderly owner every afternoon. Charlie seemed to sense that Bella needed a gentle friend, and he would approach her slowly, wagging his tail and inviting her to play. Week by week, Bella became braver, until she was actually playing chase and tug-of-war like a normal, happy dog. Maya loved watching these moments. She would sit on the park bench and feel her heart fill with joy as she saw Bella running freely across the grass, her tongue hanging out, her tail wagging with pure happiness. It was hard to believe this was the same frightened creature she had found pressed against a brick wall. At home, Bella had claimed several favorite spots. She loved the sunny patch by the living room window where she could watch people walk by on the sidewalk. She had a special fondness for the soft rug in front of the fireplace, where she would stretch out like a furry golden carpet. And every night, she slept on a comfortable bed right next to Maya's, close enough to feel safe but with her own space. Maya had bought Bella all kinds of toys, but her favorites were the puzzle toys that made her think. Maya would hide treats inside complicated toys that required Bella to figure out how to get them out. Bella would spend hours working on these puzzles, her face serious with concentration, her tail wagging when she finally succeeded. One day, Maya discovered something unexpected about Bella. She had left some classical music playing while she went to take a shower, and when she came back, she found Bella sitting perfectly still in front of the speakers, her head tilted to one side, listening intently to a violin solo. From that day on, Maya always played soft music when she left for work, and she would often come home to find Bella relaxing peacefully to the gentle sounds. But perhaps the most special thing about Bella was how she seemed to understand Maya's feelings. On days when Maya came home stressed from dealing with difficult situations at work, Bella would immediately sense her mood. She would bring Maya her favorite toy, or rest her head on Maya's lap, or do something silly to make Maya smile. Maya had always been someone who helped others for a living, but she had never experienced being helped in return quite like this. Bella had a way of making even the worst days better just by being there, by showing Maya that she was loved and appreciated every single day. Training sessions became one of their favorite activities together. Bella was so smart that she learned new commands quickly. She mastered sit, stay, come, and down within the first few weeks. Then Maya taught her more complicated things like rolling over, shaking hands, and even bringing her specific items by name. Maya's friends and family were amazed by the transformation they witnessed. Maya's sister visited one afternoon and couldn't believe this was the same dog Maya had described rescuing from the streets. Bella greeted her politely, showed off some of her tricks, and even brought her the TV remote when she asked Maya where it was. "It's like she understands English," Maya's sister said, watching Bella carefully place the remote in her hand. "Are you sure she's not part human?" Maya laughed, but she knew what her sister meant. Bella seemed to have an almost supernatural ability to understand what was needed in any situation. When Maya was sick with a cold, Bella stayed close to her all day, bringing her tissues and refusing to leave her side. When Maya's elderly neighbor fell down in the hallway, Bella somehow knew something was wrong and alerted Maya by scratching at the door and whining until Maya investigated. The changes weren't just in Bella, though. Maya found that having Bella in her life had changed her too. She smiled more often, laughed at the silly things Bella did, and felt a sense of purpose and joy that went beyond her work. She had always loved helping people, but there was something different about the unconditional love and gratitude that Bella showed her every day. Maya started taking longer walks because Bella enjoyed exploring new neighborhoods. She began cooking more at home because she liked having dinner with her furry companion. She even rearranged her work schedule sometimes to spend more time with Bella, realizing that this relationship was just as important as any other responsibility in her life. One evening, as they sat together on the couch watching a movie, Maya looked down at Bella, who was resting her head on Maya's feet with a contented sigh. She remembered the promise she had made in that cold alley. Stay with me forever. Looking at Bella now, healthy, happy, and so full of love, Maya realized that the promise had worked both ways. Bella had chosen to stay with Maya forever too, and in doing so she had brought more joy and meaning to Maya's life than she could have ever imagined. The scared, broken dog from the streets was completely gone, replaced by this wonderful companion who made every day brighter. But Maya knew that Bella's journey wasn't finished yet. There was still more healing to do, more adventures to share, and more ways for them to help each other grow. As Bella dozed peacefully beside her, Maya felt grateful for that rainy night when everything changed. She had thought she was saving Bella, but now she understood the truth. They had saved each other. 2 years had passed since that rainy night in the alley, and Maya could hardly believe how much their lives had changed. Bella had grown into the most beautiful, confident dog anyone could imagine. Her golden coat shined in the sunlight, her eyes sparkled with intelligence and love, and her tail seemed to wag constantly with pure happiness. But the most incredible change was what Bella had become in the community. Maya had enrolled them both in therapy dog training after noticing how naturally Bella connected with people who were sad or scared. It turned out that Bella's experience of being hurt and then healed had given her a special gift for understanding when others needed comfort. Every Tuesday and Thursday, Maya and Bella visited the children's wing of the local hospital. Bella had learned to be extra gentle around the young patients, sensing somehow that they needed her calm presence. She would lie quietly beside their beds, letting them pet her soft fur and whisper their worries into her patient ears. There was one little boy named Alex who had been in the hospital for weeks. He barely spoke to anyone and refused to do his physical therapy exercises. But when Bella visited, something magical happened. Alex would smile for the first time all day, and eventually he started walking again just so he could take Bella for short walks down the hospital corridors. "She's better medicine than anything we have," one of the nurses told Maya, watching Alex giggle as Bella gently licked his hand. Maya and Bella also visited the nursing home every week. The elderly residents would light up when they saw Bella coming down the hallway, her therapy dog vest making her look official and important. She had learned to be careful around wheelchairs and walking canes, and she seemed to understand that some people moved more slowly than others. There was Mrs. Rodriguez, who had stopped talking to anyone after her husband died. But she would spend hours telling Bella stories about her childhood, her voice growing stronger each week. There was Mr. Johnson, who had been angry and difficult with all the staff, but who became gentle and kind whenever Bella curled up next to his chair. "That dog has done more for our residents than any activity program we've ever tried," the director told Maya. "It's like she knows exactly what each person needs." But perhaps the most meaningful work Bella did was back at the animal shelter, where Maya had gotten her therapy dog certification. Bella seemed to understand that the scared, anxious dogs there were feeling exactly the way she once had. She would approach them slowly, just like Maya had approached her, and somehow communicate that everything would be okay. Maya watched in amazement as Bella worked with a terrified puppy mill rescue who wouldn't let anyone touch her. Bella lay down nearby and waited patiently, just being present, until the scared dog finally crept closer. Within an hour, the rescue dog was following Bella around like she had found a mentor and friend. "It's like she's teaching them how to trust again," the shelter volunteer said, tears in her eyes. "She's showing them that humans can be good." Maya had started speaking at local schools about pet responsibility and kindness to animals. Bella would demonstrate her tricks and let the children pet her while Maya told their story. She always kept it simple for the young audiences, focusing on the important message that every animal deserves love and care. "Bella was scared and hungry when I found her," Maya would tell the wide-eyed children. "But look at her now. When we show kindness to others, amazing things can happen." The children were always fascinated by Bella's transformation. They would ask questions about how long it took for her to feel safe, what her favorite foods were, and how Maya knew she was ready to help other animals. Bella seemed to enjoy these visits, sitting patiently while dozens of small hands petted her and told her she was beautiful. At home, Maya and Bella had settled into the most wonderful routine. Every morning Bella would wake Maya up by gently placing her paw on the bed and wagging her tail. They would go for their morning walk through the neighborhood where Bella had become a local celebrity. Shop owners would come out to greet her, children would run up to ask for hugs, and other dog owners would stop to chat about training tips. Maya had learned so much about herself through loving Bella. She discovered that she was more patient than she had ever known, more willing to put someone else's needs first, and more capable of unconditional love than she had believed possible. Taking care of Bella had taught her that sometimes the most rewarding things in life require the most commitment. Their evening routine was Maya's favorite part of every day. After dinner, they would sit together on the couch, Bella's head resting on Maya's lap while Maya read or watched TV. Sometimes Maya would tell Bella about her day at work, and Bella would listen with the kind of attention that made Maya feel truly heard and understood. On weekends, they would go on longer adventures. They explored hiking trails where Bella could run freely through the woods, visited dog-friendly beaches where Bella would chase waves and dig in the sand, and attended outdoor festivals where Bella would charm everyone she met with her gentle, friendly personality. Maya often thought about that moment in the alley when she had promised Bella, "Stay with me forever." At the time, she had been thinking about giving Bella a home and taking care of her physical needs. She never could have imagined that Bella would give her so much more in return. Bella had taught Maya about resilience, how someone could survive terrible experiences and still choose to love and trust again. She had shown Maya the healing power of patience and consistency. Most importantly, Bella had demonstrated every single day that love really could transform everything. Looking at Bella now, healthy and confident and making a difference in so many lives, Maya felt overwhelmed with gratitude. The promise she had made in that cold alley had become the most beautiful commitment of her life. Bella would indeed stay with her forever, and Maya couldn't imagine her world without this incredible companion who had started as a rescue and become a rescuer herself. Their story had become proof that sometimes the most broken things, when given enough love and time, become the most powerful forces for good in the world. Bella never forgot where she came from, but she no longer lived in that painful past. Instead, she used her experience to bring hope and healing to others who needed it most. Every night, as Bella settled into her comfortable bed beside Maya's, Maya would whisper the same words she had spoken in the alley. "Thank you for staying with me forever." And Bella's gently thumping tail against the floor seemed to say back, "Thank you for keeping your promise." They had both found their forever home in each other, and their love story continued to inspire everyone whose lives they touched.